Hello everyone, Pokesaurus here. It's been a while since the last episode of Jurassic Games dropped, which I apologize for. Real life has a nice way of getting in the way of things, especially when you're graduating from university. But regardless, we're back and coming off the wake of the biggest episode yet. If you somehow haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend you go back and watch our most recent episode, which was on the big topic of Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. But what comes after Operation Genesis? Surely the long and constant stream of Jurassic Park games would continue long into the future, as it had for the past decade. Right? Welcome to the next phase of our Jurassic Park game travels, the Dead Period. Following Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, we got pretty much nothing. No games, no movies, very little merchandise, nothing. The format for the past decade had been that every few years, a new movie had come out to continue the string of Jurassic Park media. But this time there was no new movie. No Jurassic Park 4, no nothing. After Jurassic Park 3's failure with fans, critics, and the box office, the franchise went dormant. While Steven Spielberg and the folks at Amblin and Universal went back to the drawing board to figure out ways to continue the film franchise, it seemed like everything else was put on hold. There were some fans who held out hope for the cancelled game Jurassic Park Survival, an action-adventure and survival horror game set on Isla Sorna that was being developed by Savage Entertainment and Konami. The game was meant to be a sort of spiritual successor to Trespasser, and was to be based on the events of Jurassic Park 3. A trailer and screenshots for the game exist online, as well as some information about it. But the game itself was never completed due to licensing disagreements with Vivendi Universal. As such, the well continued to run dry. Just about the only other things out there beyond the games I've discussed in previous episodes are the arcade games, which I'll get to in a later episode, and a Japan-only pachinko game for the PlayStation 2, that I would really love to buy, but can't because it's so goddamn expensive. So, nothing. 2004 goes by without anything, 2005 is as dead as ever, and this continues all the way until 2010. A teaser. For the first time since 2003, Jurassic Park fans were getting more content. A new video game, no less. Jurassic Park, alongside Back to the Future, was getting a new game developed by TellTale Games, known largely at that time for their work on Sam & Max, and contemporarily known for their work on games like The Walking Dead and Minecraft Story Modes.
Why is that guy still wearing a plastic bag on his head?
The game was initially scheduled for April 2011, but was delayed to November. In February of 2011, TellTale released the first gameplay trailer for Jurassic Park the game. It promised a closing of the loose end created by Nedry's lost Barbasol can full of embryos, action, and a T-Rex with a Dino Crisis roar for some reason. This was fixed in later trailers. To take a little bit of a step back, I was in middle school at this time, and most of my life as a Jurassic Park fan by this point had been lived through the Dead Period, with only Operation Genesis and online speculation about a potential fourth movie keeping me going. I distinctly remember watching this trailer over and over again in the school computer lab in awe of actual new Jurassic Park content. This trailer, alongside the 99 Problems trailer for Battlefield 3, are what convinced me to want an Xbox 360, as at this point I only had a Wii and older consoles. This was also the same month I joined Jurassic Park Legacy, may it rest in peace, so needless to say, I was very excited. We got numerous trailers for the game leading up to its release, with some focusing on the story and others on the dinosaurs. Finally, on November 15th, 2011, Jurassic Park the game released for Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC. So what was it, and more importantly, was it any good? Well, to begin, Jurassic Park the game is unlike any other Jurassic Park game that preceded it. Rather than be a park builder, platformer, or action game, Jurassic Park the game is essentially an episodic interactive story split into 4 episodes. The player spends most of the time going between QTE segments and making dialogue choices. These dialogue choices, for the most part, do not affect the outcome of the story, and it is generally pretty linear. The game takes place during and immediately following the events of the first film, and largely centers around 3 groups of characters. The first group is Jerry Harding and his daughter Jess. In case you're unaware, Jerry Harding is the veterinarian we see tending to the sick Triceratops in the original film. Due to the likeness licensing reasons, this game version does not look too similar to his film counterpart, but for all intents and purposes, he's meant to be the same person. The game picks up soon before Nedry enacts his plan to steal the embryos, and as such, Jerry and his daughter are stuck on the island as things go awry. The second group consists of Nema Cruz and Miles Chadwick, who are Nedry's contacts on the dock whom he is intended to take the stolen embryos to. After he fails to appear at the boat, the two set off to look for him. They find his partially eaten corpse and the Barbasol can, but are ambushed by Dilophosaurs. Miles is killed while Nema tries to escape in Nedry's jeep. The Dilophosaurs are spooked by an unknown group of dinosaurs with glowing eyes, one of whom bites Nema as she attempts to run away from them. She eventually falls down a hillside and lands in the middle of the road, where she is nearly run over by Jerry and Jess. Nema begins to hallucinate, which Jerry correctly deduces is due to the bite from the mysterious dinosaur, and the 3 begin heading to the visitor center to seek medical assistance. They are impeded by loose trikes, one of whom destroys their jeep. The Tyrannosaurus also appears, and it starts a fight between it and one of the Triceratops. The 3 hunker down for the night in a bunker, and when the morning comes, the trikes and wrecks have cleared out, with only a broken off trike horn remaining. The 3 are noticed by someone else on the island, Dr. Sorkin, who sees them via security cameras. More on Dr. Sorkin later, but for now she helps them out by sending them a tour vehicle that can take them back to the visitor center. The 3 arrive at the visitor center after the fight between the Raptors and the Rex we see in the film, with us being shown the helicopter that rescued Grant, Sattler, Malcolm, Hammond, and the kids leaving in the distance. Sorkin tells Jerry how to cure Nema, though they're interrupted yet again by the Rex. Once the Rex is distracted with the tour vehicle courtesy of Dr. Sorkin, Nema is given the antidote and cured of her ailment, though when Jerry suggests escaping the island, Nema pulls a gun on him and Jess. Finally, we meet the 3rd main group, them being a mercenary group hired by Engine. The main 2 are Oscar Morales and Billy Yoder, with their helicopter pilot Danny being the 3rd in their group. The 3 arrive at the visitor center to link up with another mercenary team, but find them all dead save for one, named Vargas, who has also been bitten by the mysterious dinosaurs and has gone crazy with hallucinations and killed his own men, and also attempts to attack Billy and Oscar as well. After subduing Vargas, the pair check the security camera footage from the visitor center and see Nema taking the Hardings hostage and leaving the building. The mercenaries are attacked by the unknown dinosaurs again, who finally succeed in killing Vargas, and the remaining mercenaries escape in their helicopter. Jess, who manages to steal a radio, is able to contact the mercenaries for help, and the mercenaries head to them. The mercenaries' helicopter is attacked by some pteranodons, however, and are forced to land. Why these pteranodons are here on Isla Nublar when these ones shown are from Isla Sorna is unknown. Oscar and Yoder go into the jungle to find the Hardings and Nema, which they succeed in doing when the trio are attempting to use a roller coaster to reach the bottom of a cliff, but are attacked by a group of Herrerasaurus. Nema is disarmed, and the 2 groups narrowly manage to fix their helicopter and escape the T-Rex as it attacks them yet again. The mercenaries inform the Hardings and Nema that they must also rescue Dr. Sorkin before they can leave the island, and they head to Dr. Sorkin's compound on the north end of the island. Now, I can't go over the rest of the game's plot as it would take far too long, but to summarize, they reach Sorkin, are attacked by raptors that had been shipped from Site B, who managed to kill Oscar, and Sorkin reveals the mysterious dinosaurs are troodons that were meant to have been killed due to their venomous and volatile nature, but had been kept by Dr. Sorkin for observational purposes and escaped. Sorkin also reveals she has been curing the dinosaurs of their lysine deficiency, and has been unhappy with Doctor Who's work in hampering the dinosaurs' ability to survive. The group must then survive the ever-persistent troodons and velociraptors. Nema reveals she was a member of the Tun-Si tribe who had lived on Isla Nublar before Engine had forced them off the island to build Jurassic Park, and that Oscar had been one of the mercenaries hired to forcibly remove them. She also reveals that she was working with Biosyn to steal the embryos in order to use the money to build a better life for her daughter. Jess and Jerry have a falling out due to Jess being an angsty teenager with an attitude problem, while Dr. Sorkin turns on the group when she finds out Engine have called for a US Navy bombardment of the island to destroy the dinosaurs, nearly has them all killed by a Tylosaurus in an underwater viewing attraction, with Dr. Sorkin herself being eaten by it. After escaping the Tylosaurus, Billy Yoder and Nema fight over the Barbasol can containing the dinosaur embryos, while the Hardings attempt to reach the boat and escape. During the fight, the Tyrannosaurus appears once more and kills Yoder. Here is the only real point where the player can affect the narrative. They can either have Nema attempt to save the Barbasol can from falling into the ocean, or help save Jess. Jess will survive either way, but choosing the Barbasol can results in Nema's death at the hands of the T-Rex. Choosing Jess will have all 3 remaining survivors reach the boat and narrowly escape the T-Rex and the island. On the boat, they discover the bag containing Nedry's payment, and the 3 remark that things will work out for each of them after all. Overall, the story is alright, and it certainly has its moments, such as the badass moment when Oscar defeats a Velociraptor in hand-to-hand combat, but overall, it's nothing special. Jess is by far the most annoying character in the game, as she's a frustrating, rebelling teenager character that I honestly wouldn't have minded being eaten by the raptors. Despite the story's issues, however, the game introduces a lot of cool and unique concepts to the series. For one, the Troodons are very creepy and menacing, and are some of the most interesting dinosaurs we've had in the series. I especially like the idea of the Troodons paralyzing victims and making them functionally brain dead to use as living nests for their eggs. Horrifying, but cool. The Tylosaurus is really cool as well, and it was the first time we got to see a marine reptile in something that was close to film canon. And that's another interesting subject about the game. Its canonicity. At the time of release and for years after, there were consistent debates within the fandom over whether or not the game was to be considered film canon, with the general consensus at the time being that it was, as nothing contradicted it aside from a few minor details like Jerry Hardy looking different. That is, until Jurassic World came along and made changes that, for the most part, decanonized it. However, there are a number of elements from the game that have carried over into the films, perhaps most importantly, the volcano on Island Nublar. While the novel mentioned Nublar being volcanic in nature, this was essentially ignored in the first 3 films. Jurassic Park the game not only established the prominence of a volcano on Island Nublar in the films, but even gave it the name it still carries to this day, Mount Sibo. So although the game is no longer considered canon for the most part, pieces of it still persist even to this day, and in the case of Mount Sibo, became a crucial plot element in future films. As far as its quality as a game goes though, it's pretty lackluster. As mentioned previously, it largely consists of QuickTime events and meaningless dialogue choices that don't affect the outcome of anything, so it's not a very interesting game to play in my opinion. I do however think it's at least worth watching a Let's Play of on YouTube if you're a Jurassic Park fan, as there are interesting elements to the game worth witnessing even if you don't want to play the game itself. It's definitely not the best Jurassic Park game we've gotten, but it holds a place as an important piece of media from the franchise from a time when there was nothing else happening. The last game from this period we'll be discussing is Jurassic Park Builder. No, not the GBA game, which we already talked about. What I am referring to is the now discontinued mobile game developed by Ludia. And for this, I'm pleased to introduce my good friend, Tales of 9, or Ton for short.
Hey there, folks. Thanks for having me. Thought I would drop by and introduce the good people to a new World Jurassic Park game. Around 1 year after the release of Jurassic Park the game, the resurgence of the video game scene brought JP to a new platform, mobile games, the vast world of gaming dominated by very patient people with access to credit cards. Jurassic Park Builder entered the scene in July of 2012, produced by Canadian developers Ludia, initially for Apple devices and later Android and Facebook gaming. As the name implies, much like previous Park Builder JP games, your goal is to build a successful dinosaur park. Unlike previous games, however, Jurassic Park Builder is a freemium game. Essentially, the cost to download the game is free, but in order to improve your gaming experience, players are encouraged to spend their money on resources and items to enhance their gameplay. Which sounds a bit suspect when I say it aloud, but for now, let's ignore that and focus on the fun stuff. The gameplay for Jurassic Park Builder is rather simple. You are placed in an overgrown wilderness where you will build your park by clearing terrain in order to place buildings. The resources for this are placed in a top bar alongside your current level in a mission tab. This is where you keep track of essential resources such as crops, meat, gold, and dino dollars. Not sure if that's a real currency, but hey, maybe it's crypto. Then of course you have the typical buttons, an options menu for good old setting adjustments, a market where you can buy items, a road button in order to place and remove roads within your park, a social button to connect with other players and visit their parks, and of course the fun part, the dinosaur tab. But before we talk dinosaurs, let's talk people. As with Operation Genesis, the cast of the movies returns with the likes of John Hammond, Henry Wu, Alan Grant, and Ian Malcolm. But instead of Ellie Sattler, we are joined by Kelly, Malcolm's daughter from the Lost World. The film characters are here to assist you with building your park. They have quirky dialogue and missions that reward you with special bonuses and resources if you complete them. These missions range from simple tutorial tasks to get your park off the ground, and later give you basic to more complex management challenges like collecting a certain number of resources or creating a specific dinosaur. Dinosaurs are the name of the game, and a large focus of the game is on raising your animals into star attractions for your park. You must collect amber and invest money into decoding it. Once decoded, you can spend further money, or those great dino dollars, to incubate a new dinosaur. Once you have placed an order, you have to wait for time to pass, then your brand new dino will appear in the park. But it doesn't end there. Dinosaurs are born as babies in the game. You have to feed them in order for them to grow and level up to generate more money for the park. Once they reach a certain point, you can evolve your dinosaur into a new form, sort of like Pokemon, but more expensive. Additionally, thanks to the less complex mobile game format, Jurassic Park Builder has an extensive list of animals. In addition to dinosaurs, you can build an aquatic park with various sea animals from across time, and a glacier park, which is where you can create various Cenozoic species, such as famous Ice Age mammals, along with other beasts from after the age of dinosaurs. Some familiar examples you have access to are movie dinosaurs like T-Rex, Triceratops, and Spinosaurus. Later updates even add the Indominus Rex from Jurassic World. In the extended roster, you have well-known animals like Torosaurus and woolly mammoths. Even some obscure picks like Eutyrannus and Leedichthyes. The list of species available in this game is truly massive, due in part to the simpler art style. But the payoff is more cool animals. Now usually will come the part where I would discuss where one could play Jurassic Park Builder, but unfortunately I cannot. This game is deader than the dodo. Back in February of the cursed year of 2020, Ludia announced they would no longer be supporting the game, and 1 month later it was completely shut down. Jurassic Park Builder does however have a successor, Jurassic World the game, which for all intents and purposes is very similar to Jurassic Park Builder, but has the Jurassic World cast and a bigger focus on making cool dino hybrids. But Jurassic World is a story for another time. Anyway, that's all for me. Back to you, Pokes. Ton out.
And that about covers it. The dead period of the Jurassic Park franchise saw very little releases in the way of video games or anything else for that matter. But with the return of the Jurassic Park films via Jurassic World, this dead period was not to last much longer, and it is those games we'll be covering next. I hope you enjoyed this video, and again, I apologize for the time between uploads. In the time since I started working on this video, Jurassic World Evolution 2 was announced, so at least that's one more episode for me to make for you guys. With that said, if you did like this video, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel to be notified when I release future installments. I really appreciate all the support. Other than that, have a great day.